Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 855, Cold War Controversy. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Do we want to do, I guess, you asked me how I'm doing. Do we want to do our racket sport rise to the professionals update now, or should we save that for the end?
We could do a quick update now. Would you like to start? Do you have...
I'll do mine. Yes, I'll start with mine. So I just signed up for 2 ladder leagues starting this week. So basically, for those who don't know, is you kind of sign up with 30 or 40 people, and there's anywhere from 4 to 8 courts, and you start on a court based on your ranking, and then how you do that day. If you everyone on that court plays each other and plays with everyone, and then at the end of that hour and a half, whoever the top 2 people on the court move up a court, and the bottom 2 people on the court move down a court. And then you kind of keep working your way either to the top of the ladder or court number 1, or you work your way down the ladder. So Sunday, I went to the league, and because of my low ranking and have never done it before, I was in the last court. So court 7, as low as you can get. I had a rough day. I was a little hungover. And on top of that, I kind of was playing a little conservative because I'm not trying to brag, but you're definitely playing against people that you're better than. So you run that risk of do I just go in there and smash it at them and, try and kind of take over, especially when you're playing with a partner. You don't want to jump in front of the partner and take a shot that you could hit, So I didn't do well. I did not move up. And so I talked to my actual tournament partner, and I told her, and she was like, "You've just got to just say fuck it and just go for it." So Monday night came, and I said, "Fuck it. I'm going to be like Bane, climb myself from the bottom of the prison, climb myself out." And I fucking took it to people on Monday night and moved up the first match, and then the second round on the next court, I then did good enough to move up for next week up to another court. So I got first and second, I think. First the first time, and then second best the second time, and played phenomenally better. I think this could be the turning point.
Okay. Nice.
This could be it. I the mentality has switched a little bit, and now I've gotten a little bit of confidence in me where I feel a lot better at the net. And that's always been my weakest point. And I'm finally the reaction time is finally there at the net where when someone hits a quick volley back, I don't miss it. I can return it for the most part, and actually with some accuracy. So it's getting a little better. So we actually have a legit tournament this weekend. So we'll see how that goes compared to the first one we did where we got smoked.
Nice. Well, I've marked this clip so we can refer back to this in the future when you've got to get eliminated in the first round of the tournament.
I wish we recorded Sunday, because I came home Sunday after and I was like, I fucking quit pickleball. I am miserable. I was so angry on Sunday. I came back and I was like, I don't know how I'm fucking losing to these people. And then I had to have a talk with my partner. She gave me a heart to heart, and I took her advice and stepped it up on Monday.
Well, I'm happy that you're persevering. I also had I wouldn't call it a setback because it was but I played, can't even remember when that was. Was that yesterday? I guess it was yesterday morning. And I played against, again, I'm signing up with random people. People are kind of stating their level in this group chat, which everyone says 3, 4, 5, and you get some people who just write 5+ to sort of indicate that they consider themselves to be right at the top.
What do you consider yourself at?
So I would feel comfortable. Anything 4, 5, I'm going to hold my own and probably win. But this was my first time saying thumbs up. I'll join a 5+, and wow. I'm not 5+. I found out.
I wonder if the ranking is the same as pickleball because we're in like 3.
You have
I'm like a
legitimate
3-0.
rankings, but these people
Yes.
aren't they're not using their, like, real rankings for this. This
Yeah.
is like this is just the club's internal policy for determining how
Okay.
good you are. And, yeah, I wasn't helped, so I showed up and it was 2 25-year-old guys who had decided that, like, that's their pairing. And then it
Okay.
was me and a 12-year-old boy who was
Now, how does a 12-year-old boy even get into this group chat?
so it's school holidays, and I think probably one of his parents is in the group chat and needed an activity for their son to do. Now I'm not gonna lie, for 12 years
Good
old, he was a good
good for a
player. Like,
12-year-old.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he obviously it wasn't his first time playing paddle, like, he was good, but
I
he's
mean, the
just
power
12.
can't be there.
Power can't be there. More to the point, like, you're at the net a lot, and he just from a size perspective, he's not
Yeah.
occupying a lot of the net. So there's
Why
a
don't you
lot
put
of
him on your
gaps.
shoulders?
Yeah, there's a lot of gaps between us. He was getting lobbed a lot, which you get lobbed a lot in paddle anyway, but he was turning things that shouldn't have been lobs, like you're giving them just a huge window to work within.
Yeah.
Um, and the combination of that and that the fact that the best player on the court was certainly on the other side of the court. I told you in the group chat, like we warmed up and I warmed up against this other guy. Already every tip I gave to you about how to like intimidate someone pre-match, he checked off like every box. So the warm up, he was dictating exactly the tempo and what we were doing. I could tell he was also doing the thing not in a dickish way, but in the warm up, he had definitely identified one of my weaknesses. And then he kind of let me know by going back to that weakness a few times in the
Ah,
warm up.
nice.
He
Or
let
maybe he was
me
trying to help you out, strengthen your
n-
weakness.
no. Yeah, strengthen it by horribly exposing it. He was just letting me know that he knew the chink in the armor and was happy to go there whenever needed. And yeah, so we lost. We lost 6-3, 6-love, 6-4. The 6-love was pretty disheartening. 6-4 at least, we ended on a high. We got back. We were 4-love down in the final set. We clawed our way back to 4-all and then got broken. And then they served and then held serve for the 6-4. But yeah, he must be one of the better players in the club because it also throughout our match, other people would stop and be like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" Like he'd have little
Nice.
chats mid points. I mean, really, again, he was a nice
Signing
guy.
fucking autographs and stuff.
Not far off. Kissing babies, it was it was but yeah, it was the first time I'd played someone because I've lost previously. Every time I've lost previously, in my mind, it was, "Give me 3 months, and I'll be better than you." That's like, the only difference between you and I is experience at this stage. This was the first, like, that might be 3 years. Like, that's gonna be a while. Like, that's a big difference in terms of how I would have to I couldn't find a weakness of his, which was also frustrating sort of as I was playing. And yeah, he could go into the well of my weaknesses whenever he wanted to. So it was not a real contest.
Yeah. I think, one of the things I need to work on is a backhand. 2 people now
Okay.
have told me this.
Yeah, it's only a third of the sport, so that's not
Yeah.
not a big
Well,
deal.
I mean, it's so right now
You
I'm
can
just kind of like one hand backhanding, and
yeah,
it's enough that like now I can consistently get it into play and get it to where I want, but there's really no power into it, and a lot of times it's a little lobby, so it like
yeah.
sets people up to then slam it. So at least 3 separate people in the past 2 days have come up and been like, "You know what you could really do use? Like, if you can get a two-handed backhand, you'd be really good." And it's like, "Yeah, that's great. I'd love to have that, but I fucking can't." Like, you know what else?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, like, thanks for
that's a
telling
fair
me
amount of
that.
work. It's not a slight adjustment in your technique.
Yeah, so
What
that's
didn't help
something I
me
gotta
in
start learning.
what didn't help me in my game, the 12-year-old was good, and he was very nice. Like, he and I I could tell immediately that we were not gonna vibe great on in terms of a chemistry perspective because when I introduced myself to him as the match was starting, because we hadn't really exchanged names, we kinda had this awkward start, so and then he was warming up with the other guy and I was warming up. I said my name and he said his name, and then he went Vamos to me, and I was like, "Oh, we're not gonna I'm not a Vamos. I'm not really a Vamos kinda guy, so this is this is not a great sign." But he was so hard on himself. Like, he would make a
Love it.
mistake.
Love
He
it.
would make a mistake and just be and because it's all walled in at one point, he basically put his face on the glass wall and was just like, "Ah." It was
Oh, I
kind of
love
funny,
it.
and I was trying to pick him up. I was like, "Don't be so hard on yourself. Like, we're learning."
Oh, that's a
But
shitty teammate. You should if he's that hard on himself, then you gotta be double that. You gotta
on
play
on
bad
on
cop,
him?
worse cop. Yeah, yeah, yes. When he hits a
Yeah.
good one, you gotta be like, "Yeah, you thought that was good? It wasn't. Do fucking better."
Yeah. No, I was positive. I wanted to make sure he was enjoying himself and that he walked away
So
from
would you
it.
play with that kid again? If
Yeah.
let's say in the group chat, that kid pops up and it's like, "Hey, my 12" or like remember his name. It's like, "Hey, my son so and so needs a
Yeah.
partner." Are you like, I'm all right.
Depends who we're playing against.
Sorry,
Like
12-year-old, that's a no.
no, but I mean, like, would I play with him if it was like, if I thought we were gonna be it was pairings where it was gonna be some similar a guy in his 30s against someone else, another teenage kid, then yeah, I'd give it a go. But and probably, for example, if he and I played together in the ladder thing that I go to on Thursdays, he and I actually would probably do pretty well because there the standard's just that tiny bit easier, and so we'd probably be okay, but yeah, there's a limitation there. Now, it might not be he's 12, he's probably, like, 3 years away from being, like, legitimately a contender in some of those internal tournaments. Might not be the worst move for me to align myself with him now, and
Yeah, there you
then,
go.
when I'm 41, then we're a force to be reckoned with as a pairing, but other than that, no, I think I gotta try and find someone closer to my own age, ideally. Plus,
Nice.
it also felt weird. I mean, I joked with you, but legitimately in my head at one point, because the two guys on the other side were probably like somewhere between 22 and 26. And in my head, I was like, actually, from an age perspective, we're probably evened out here. Like this is
Yeah.
probably about this basically 50, literally 50-year-old versus 50-year-old in combined ages on either sides of the court. It's just I have the short end of the stick as to how that equation is being worked out. Now, in addition to that, this weekend, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to briefly talk about hockey because
Yeah.
I do have some hot takes, 2 of which will
Oh
probably
gosh.
annoy you. So
I'm
I'll
sure. I've
pre-warn
already
you.
been set up for being annoyed by you 100%.
But yes, I did watch all of the United States against Canada in the men's gold medal match at the Winter Olympics, which the United States won 2-1 in overtime to win their first gold medal since the Miracle on Ice in
46
1980.
years to the day.
Which I have to admit, going into it, they made a big deal of that pregame and then throughout the game. I did not realize the US had not won a gold medal in the intervening period. If you
Yep.
had asked me in a pub quiz, like how many gold medals has the US won in the last 30 years, I probably would have said 2,
Yeah.
I but yeah.
And I would guess I would say even more importantly, it's the first since then with pro players too. Because when they won back with the Soviets, that was with not pro players.
Oh,
So
we're gonna get on to my first talking point there. But I won't hot take you early on. I'll let you bask in
okay.
the glory of your victory, and then but that
Yeah.
we'll go back to that
Oh,
point in a bit.
I mean, it was just a phenomenal game. I mean, that was probably one of the best hockey games I've ever watched. It was, even for a low scoring game, it was so many chances back and forth. The first period opened up exactly how you thought, where the U.S. kind of wanted to kind of dictate the mood, and try and get under their skin a little bit. And it worked in the first period, I think. But then in the second and third, Canada kind of settled in and was like, hey, we're the better team here. Like, let's just take over this game. And they took over the game in the second and third period. But like Connor Hellebuck played one of the best goaltending performances I've ever seen in a big, like important game, and literally just would not give up another goal and held it like, oh my God, he had so many nice saves in that game. And then, you had McKinnon hit the post on that one where he was wide open. And then you had the other one that McAvoy like jumped into the back of the net and stopped from going in with his hands and like knocked it out. That was sick. But phenomenal game. The only downside, and somehow it worked to the US's advantage, because going into the overtime, I would have said the odds had to be like, minus 300 on Canada once it went to 3-on-3, because their 3v3s are just so strong, and the talent they have. But the US ended up winning it, but it kind of sucks that it went to 3-on-3. I think for everything up to the gold medal match, it's fine. It's super exciting. It's just constant back and forth 2-on-1s both ways. And, like you get a ton of great plays, but like in a gold medal match, it's a little too chaotic to decide it. It should have either, maybe you go 4-on-4 or you just stick with 5-on-5, at least for one more full overtime. Like, it wasn't as if that game wasn't exciting. Like it was a great game, and it just kind of sucks that you knew as soon as it went to 3-on-3, it was going to be over within 5 minutes. Like there's no way it's going to last more than 3, 4, 5 minutes there. So, but US had a nice goal, awesome play by Jack Hughes. Back checked, stopped the 2-on-0 the other way, and then kept skating and got a nice pass and made a nice shot. And it's pretty sick that he had like 3 missing teeth. That was pretty crazy. To get half your fucking front teeth knocked out and then still play and score the game winner. I was sick. So, yeah, awesome game. Super fun to watch. Sucks it was at 7 a.m. and I was super hungover, but otherwise, super fun to watch.
Part of that's your own fault. I mean, that's...
I could barely even muster drinking water as I was watching it.
What I did like about it is I received texts from you overnight speaking about how you're going to be back at a bar only a couple of hours from now. You had friends flying in, and in the end, it was just you sitting alone in your house watching it. So,
well, they were supposed to fly in, and then as soon as the airline wouldn't let them book their flight because it was less than 2 hours, I made the executive decision that I would just stay at the bar longer and then not go to it in the morning. Because otherwise, if they were getting on a flight, I was going home and was going to sleep for at least 4 or 5 hours till they arrived to kind of rest up. But instead, just stayed at the Cedar Inn, and another classic Cedar Inn night.
Yeah.
That bar just breeds great stories.
So, are you ready for my first hot take?
Okay, what's your first hot take?
Is the Miracle on Ice the most like overplayed sports trope of all time? In that,
what do you mean trope?
Is it as miraculous as Americans want to believe? In that, is it not? Because it was kind of rammed down your throat in watching this match over the course of 3-4 hours. If the United States played more team international sports, I don't think the Miracle on Ice, like at a serious level, like, yes, you have, your men's football team has only become like a competitive thing in the last 20, 30 years. Your women's football team has been competitive as long as that's been a sort of mainstream sport, but that also is a relatively limited period of time. And then aside from hockey, you basically have no other sports that you compete at a serious level in international team sports. I mean, I guess you could sort of say baseball, but no one really takes international baseball that seriously. Certainly not in the United States. I think other countries do, but it's not a big U.S. thing. I think if you were like a European country, the Miracle on Ice would not even crack the top 10 of like things that had happened in international sports for you. But because you have not much else to add to the sort of resume, A, it's a rare moment where the US is an underdog in something that they actually care about. B, there is obviously the political climate, which added to the significance of the game. I'm not going to downplay that element. But realistically, it gets treated as if it was an impossible achievement. But we see, I think, similar level of upsets in team sports on an international stage or in other levels of tournaments on a monthly basis. But you just don't have anything else to kind of fall back on.
Are you good?
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw out my one stat for this. So
Okay.
obviously, yeah, they're amateur, they're collegiate hockey players at the time playing against the team that was,
Mhm.
undisputably the best international hockey team around. But then 75% of the team went on to play in the NHL. Well, 60% of the team went on to play in the NHL. Five of them played over 500 NHL games. Three of them played over 1,000 NHL games. So to me, this is basically the equivalent of the England under 21s beating Brazil. Would it be
Has that
surprising?
ever happened?
Well, we don't play in competitive, like they've not been the setup necessary for that to happen. But like, it, if it were to happen, it wouldn't stun me to the degree that Americans treat the Miracle on Ice. I'll put it that way. And European listeners can think about it and decide if they agree with me. Like if we even want to turn this USSR team, Soviet Union team, into an all-conquering, unstoppable force. You could say, how much would it have stunned you if the England under-21s rugby team had beaten New Zealand in 2015? Like, would it be an incredible surprise? Absolutely. Would we still 40-something years later be kind of speaking about that as like something that had to be brought up whenever we played? I think not.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously gonna disagree, but I think a few examples I can lean on here would be just off the top of my head would be something like like right now, USA cricket making it through to the T20s and beating India in the semifinals. Like that would be an absolutely insane story. Like, but that's so
But you
improbable,
the
and I
US
think
beat
that's
the US beat Pakistan in the last World Cup, T20 World Cup. I agree with you.
yeah,
I
but they
think
didn't. But they
you
didn't win. They didn't go on to win. You know what I mean? They didn't beat them in the semifinals and then make it to the finals.
no, but part of what
Like
makes that
I think that's the other part. I think it's not just that it's one match that they beat a really good team. I think it's that they beat them in a knockout stage semifinal game, which everyone always forgets it wasn't the finals, but it was the semifinals. But they beat them in the biggest stage, probably in the biggest game, to make it to the gold medal match. It's a little different than just beating a team like one off in a group stage or something like that.
yeah, but this is the problem we have, and this is to me the one of the weaknesses in the why it's so special, is because I would hazard a guess the US was favorites in every game up until that game against the USSR. Like the fact that they made the semifinal was not stunning. It was that once they got there, here we're gonna lose.
I don't think they were. I'm pretty sure because they didn't win all their group stages.
No, but you see what I'm saying though? Like normally when if you had a true this kind of underdog story, like the equivalent that you're creating of the USA cricket team beating India in the semifinals of the World Cup, it would also rely on them having like six remarkable upsets just to get to the point that adds the kind of gravitas required to match. And that's what's tough is that ice hockey is played by such a small number of countries that you could kind of get there without having to pull off like remarkable upsets in the process.
But I think it's like yeah, but I think it's a lot. You know, a lot of the things where you kind of said it's a combination of a lot of things coming together in one game that makes it such a special game. Where like you have the Cold War element, you have the like USSR is just so dominant in the sport, and they have like humongous amounts of training centers at the time, and this was like all they were training for was to like win this gold medal in hockey. That was like their one goal in the entire Winter Olympics for like the 3 years leading up to it. Was like we're gonna go and we're gonna show how dominant we are in this sport and just fucking demolish everyone and like train nonstop for it. And like just the talent level that they had on that team. So like all that kind of building together towards that game, as it opposed to just being like if it were just a random game, like there's a lot into it, I think that makes it so much more special than it was. And
Sure,
and and and
but
and and I'll push back a little bit on a lot of those guys went to the NHL. They did, but none of them were anywhere near that great. I mean, like, I'll say this, not probably not one of them would make the USA roster if they were picking pros throughout their entire career. Like, not one of them makes an Olympic roster if you're taking pros, even in their best pro days.
Yeah. So just so that the US didn't lose, they drew 2-all with Sweden in the group stages,
And then they
and then
beat
they
them, right?
and then beat them in the final, and they beat
Yeah.
Czechoslovakia 7-3 in the group stages. Czechoslovakia came into the tournament as second favorites. So that was the other kind of big upset that they pulled off on the way there. But I,
So
I,
they were probably underdogs against Czech and Sweden, then I would bet.
yeah, but how big of an underdog? Who knows? Like we kind of going back in time, and obviously it's difficult. But I'm not trying to just be like counter sort of devil's advocate on this one. It's just legitimately, as I was sort of consuming this endless amount of content that was being shoved down my throat about it, I just did kind of think to myself, and I'm not trying to remove any, because if it's special to the United States and special to Americans, that's kind of all that matters, right? In the same way that there are sporting achievements in individual countries that, the significance of which from an outsider's perspective is difficult to appreciate. But it's just, there's nothing, like literally, if I said to you, like, here would be the counter, tell me the US's second biggest like upset on an international team sporting stage, and there's almost nothing, because you don't
Yeah.
have, so like how the significance it takes on is literally like, remember that one time we weren't supposed to win and we did? Like, isn't that crazy? Which, and I know you're underdogs in a lot of the ice hockey tournaments because Canada is, you know certainly in recent history been better, but not on a scale, that of which this could be compared to. But yeah, I don't know. It just
But I guess
that
I
was
mean, I guess that my challenge then would be, what are some bigger international upsets? Not, again, not just like a one game where like, oh my god, Brazil lost to,
mm.
I don't know, some shit team in a random friendly, or even like an international, like a group stage. But like, what were some of those super big upsets where like a 10-1 underdog beat someone in the semis of a group stage and went on to win the gold or something like that? Is it Croatia over England?
England would probably have a few of them. I mean, honestly, actually, and I think this is one that has so much more significance for English fans of a certain age than it does for Americans. But uh, the USA beat England in the group stages of the 1950 World Cup, which I think knocked England out. In terms of the results that they needed to go through. And for English fans, that's huge as a failure. I don't think for American, like, again, the sport just doesn't resonate, or certainly didn't resonate enough at the time for that to kind of be put into folklore in the same way that the Miracle on Ice was. But, you could argue, again, from a sort of odds perspective or the mismatch from a talent standpoint, that was probably maybe even a more significant achievement. But yeah, I mean, again, it's tough because, and you were right. You're right to say, like, it's the and obviously there's the political context, which, hard to think of anything that comes close from kind of that level. But it's yeah, most of the other international upsets that I would point to probably take place either in the group stages or something, or maybe in the early knockout stages, like
Yeah.
Iceland beating England in the Euros, something like that, which, yeah, it's a huge upset, but then Iceland go and get spanked next round by France. And, the only lasting impact from that on an international is an annoying clap that everybody does.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things too, for me, that I think is kind of funny, in the sense that after this win, you see a lot of people kind of doing the like, "Oh, like, we own the sport now." Like, "Oh, like, we're like, Canada doesn't own hockey anymore. Like, US owns hockey." I honestly don't think that's true. I mean, I will say this was an upset. It wasn't anywhere near as much of an upset as obviously that game was, because you have pros playing pros, and both teams are good. But Canada's team was definitely the better team, and they played better in that game. They just went up against an amazing goalie having an amazing night, and that's, big players play big games, and that's fine. But like to say that they now own it because they won that one game is a little crazy. But I think that would be a scenario where it would mean a lot more then. Like I can only imagine what the feeling must have been then when they beat the USSR to have that over them in that context, and in that like political climate and everything where, it's an arms race to who's the better, more dominant country in every aspect of every single thing, in the world. So like in that context, I think it would have been a lot better of a feeling than what people are doing now. I think people are just kind of being annoying now about it.
Yeah, and also, and this kind of touches into something we discussed pre-Olympics. You're going to have the World Championships coming up, and then you're going to have the Four Nations tournament again. You play each other too often. It reduces some of the significance. Even if, yes, it would be like, well, normally they're missing some players because it's not a priority for some NHLers or whatever. But still, realistically, when you're guaranteed to have a USA Canada match, I don't know, once every 14 months in some kind of quote unquote significant setting, it definitely reduces it. I found only one in a quick little bit of research. Here's the one I'll pull up against it. West Germany against Hungary in the 1954 World Cup final. Hungary
Wait,
had
say it again?
won. West Germany against Hungary in the
Okay.
1954 World Cup final. Hungary had won 31 matches in a row. Oh no, they
Wow.
31 matches unbeaten. Sorry. And they had beaten West Germany 8-3 in the group stages of the same tournament. And Hungary went 2-0 up within the first 8 minutes, and West Germany came back to win 3-2.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Problem for Germany is like, trying
They
to
were
point
West
back
Germany.
to, well, and also, like they can't be too proud of anything that happened in, even though it's 1954, it's a little too close to some periods in history
Yeah.
that they probably don't want to be remembering too much. But yeah.
So the next international thing isn't until 2028. It's the World Cup of Hockey they're doing. So there won't be another four. It looks like there won't be another Four Nations. So 2 years from now looks like the next one.
Well, except we just spoke about it. There's a Hockey World Championship in May of this year.
Yeah, I don't know how serious they take that though.
We went through this.
I know, but still, I remember kind of watching
if the final is Canada, USA, it will still be people talking about it. If the USA win it again, then it will be people saying like now we really have it over the Canadians. And yeah, sure, if Canada wins, then it will be Americans downplaying the significance of the tournament and saying it doesn't matter compared to the Olympics. So, it's win-win from an American perspective in that setup. My other talking point, my other hot take. We're not a political podcast, as I often have to preface this. Takes a little bit of sheen off the victory when you cut to the locker room of the U.S. celebrations and you have the CIA director in there. I don't remember watching Miracle, and in the post-game celebrations, William Hedgecock Webster being in the locker room.
Wow, you did your research.
I did my research.
Wow, you went for the deep cut research there.
Well, I was interested when I was thinking about it. I wanted to see who the CIA, the director of the FBI. He's the FBI director at the time. I wanted to see who it was, and then once I saw that his name was William Hedgecock Webster, I knew that I had to run with the talking point. Or the CIA director at the time, who was William J. Casey. Maybe if that was because it was the USSR, the CIA, that would have been more their territory, and maybe that would have meant that he would have really got in there to as in the Cash Patel, just to celebrate with the boys and really a huge dent in the USSR at the height of the Cold War.
I hope they were actually there. What a correction one of our listeners is going to have on you.
Well, maybe.
It's in both their autobiographies. Our best day ever on the job was the day we got to celebrate the Miracle on Ice in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't. I just a little weird. And again, we're not a political podcast. But if that had been like And I will sort of if that had been the Soviet Union or if that had been North Korea or something, this is exactly what you would expect. Like, why is a member of their sort of security, uh, sort of in there celebrating with their team? Seems a little strange to me, but is what
Yeah.
it is.
And then he there has been a lot of controversy as to whether that was also on the American taxpayers'
Of
dime.
course it was. Of
Yeah,
course it
but
was.
there was
But he
other
was there
meetings already scheduled.
yes, of course. Because of
Yeah.
it's not unusual for the director of the FBI to take regular meetings in Italy in February of each year. That's what they did. It's standard procedure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why with and this is not just this incident, but you see it a lot with like, why is so and so in the locker room? Why is this in the locker room? Why can't they just have like a closed door policy for locker rooms? And like, and honestly, if I'm a player, I think I prefer that. Like, I would prefer just give me an hour to just celebrate with these guys that, we flew across, halfway across the world. We practiced every day, played every day for 3 weeks, whatever. Just let us have an hour by ourselves. Close the doors. Don't let anyone in. Don't let media in. Don't let fans in. Like, we'll see our family. We'll see our friends. Like, we already said hi to them. Just give us 30 minutes. Let us fucking go wild for 30 minutes. No one has to see what we do, what we say, the stupid shit of us ripping our shirts off or whatever, like stupid stuff they want to do. Like, I don't get why now they don't just do that. Like, it'd be so much better off for everyone involved.
Yeah, and look,
Like, live stream, like, just get, "Hey, guys, 30 minutes, everyone put their phones away. Let's not live stream things." Like, we can tell everyone, we can do a second celebration where we then live stream. Like, everyone just, like, let's enjoy this moment with just us.
but if you don't film it, did it really happen? That's
It's
that's
true,
the
I
issue.
guess.
And here's what I wanna say.
And
Whilst
and this is wait, real quick. And it's not just Team USA. Like, we see this now with every single celebration. Like, the Super Bowl was the same shit. There was celebrities in there. We're like, why the fuck's that guy in there or that person? Like,
Chris
every
Pratt.
major event now. Yeah, every major event, someone's got to be in there, and it's always like it becomes a controversy.
My pushback to that, I suppose, would be if you won something and then, I don't know, celebrity you loved wanted to come in and celebrate with you. Matt Damon says to you, like,
That's
"Frank, I
different.
just"
That's Matt Damon.
you would be so excited. You would be over the moon. You'd be like, "Not
No,
only
you
did
know
I
what?
just win the Super Bowl, I'm now celebrating with Matt Damon. Best
You
day of
can
my life."
choose to celebrate outside the locker room, and I would do that. I'd say, "Guys, I love you. I appreciate the effort we made, but I'm fucking out. I'm going to celebrate with my buddy Matt Damon."
And then Matt Damon would walk away and be going, "That guy's a dick."
No, but you
Yeah,
can still do that after. Do you know what I mean?
look,
Like
I'm
have
I
your main
mostly agree with you.
celebration.
It oh, what the one thing I'll say is, and whilst I don't think, "Oh, we must always just respect the office of the president or the office of any head of state, and, like, nothing that they do should ever be considered in terms of whether or not you go to visit them or play golf with them or whatever it is." Had that been Donald Trump there, and he wants to go in the locker room and congratulate the players, I think it's a little different. There, you're like, I guess we let him in. It's
Yeah, yeah, of course.
fucking Kash Patel. I mean, if it's the Secretary of Agriculture, does he, like, do they also come? Like, what's the cutoff point before you're not a significant enough politician where they're like, no, we're sorry, you can wait. Like, that's that's the thing that's where I've also find it tough. And I know that Kash Patel is a big hockey guy, and like 4 years ago, he was coaching an ice hockey team because that's just the remarkable career trajectory he's had into having a very significant position. But even that doesn't mean that he should be
Man,
welcomed.
I don't know why you had to pull Brooke Rollins into it, huh?
Yeah, listen, I watched you Google that, so I
No, actually, I do know who she is because she's the USDA, so I get emails from her.
oh well. Does she ask to come into the locker room in case you have any big
Not
pickleball
direct
victories?
emails.
but, but yeah, it's just kind of bizarre to me. And the, you can stay out of this comment, but in the world of like to kind of reference the Mitchell and Webb, are we the bad guys? sketch. It's not a great look from an American perspective. Like you're checking a lot of the boxes of what the bad guys do. Not a lot of good guys are having senior members of their security.
Well,
You
you
know,
know why, Eddie? Because not a lot of the good guys are fucking winning. That's why.
that's probably true at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I think a good win. That was an awesome game. Like that was so fun to watch, and it's crazy the amount of people. We did talk about, is that the biggest event? And again, on the world stage, probably not. But I think even considering how early it was, so many people were watching that game. I mean, I had texts from everyone who knows that I like hockey sent a message or a text about that game. So even people I did not think that would be watching that game. So yeah, definitely a great game. And another unfortunate loss for Connor McDavid, who did, I don't know if you saw, he won the MVP on the losing team. The second time now he's done that. He also got the MVP in the Stanley Cup Finals after losing. So not a good
Yeah.
run for him. 2 Stanley Cup losses and a gold medal Olympic loss in the past 2 years.
Yeah, and missed some big chances. Like he had the
Yeah.
like one-on-one that he missed or
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and you know what? Like I think there was a lot of talk about whether he's now going to have kind of that label as like not a winner. Um I think it's really unfair considering, because when I think of those people, I think the obvious recent one for me is like A-Rod, right? He always gets that label of he's a great player, but in big games, he never stepped up. You could never hit the big hits. And, when it really mattered, he was not clutch. I think McDavid is still super clutch. I mean, he didn't score that game, but he had so many chances, set up so many nice plays. In all the Stanley Cup finals that he's lost, he's like led the Stanley Cup in goals. Like you can only do so much. And it's not that he's not doing well. That's why they're losing. I think hockey's just a tough sport where like, the margin for victory is so close. But I think I think it's a little unfair on him to say that, maybe he's not like a clutch player.
yeah, I mean, I think the Stanley Cup feels different because obviously over the course of those series, he played well. And whether or not maybe in the game 7 he could have done a tiny bit more, played a tiny bit better, and that's still there's still you can be critical of that, but it feels different. In this, I don't know. I think if you're a true superstar, right, and you really want to put your name amongst the elite of the elite, then part of that is having iconic moments in the most, you know, iconic games, and he missed a huge opportunity there. Like, as a non-hockey guy, for me, it's like, yeah, I know that Sidney Crosby scored an overtime goal to win Canada a gold medal. Like,
Yep.
that's and it doesn't matter that, yeah, every person would tell you that Connor McDavid is way more talented than Sidney Crosby, but there's a difference in legacy there, at least for the time being. Obviously, he's got a long time left in his career, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I thought he was going to have one in overtime too. He had right off the bat, he had two. Well, he had the one that he drove to the net and he fanned on the shot, which is crazy. I've never seen him fan on a shot before. And then the other one he had where he made that nice play and he cut into the middle. And that's the play where actually Jack Hughes poked it off his stick and then they went the other way and then Hughes scored. Like, I mean, altogether, that play by Jack Hughes is insane because I think Connor McDavid might have actually scored on that play if Hughes doesn't knock the puck off his stick as he's going right to the net. So, yeah, he had two good chances and kind of did miss them both. So, I guess there's, is a little bit to that. Unfortunate, but
Yeah. Well, speaking of huge surprises and upsets, an even bigger one than the Miracle on Ice took place tonight as Bodo Glimt knocked Inter Milan out of the Champions League. I mean,
no, if Bodo Glimt goes on to win it all, this could
well,
be.
not close. Honestly, if Bodo Glimt wins the Champions League, it's not close in terms of Miracle on Ice versus that
Yeah.
achievement in
See,
terms of
I was going to go the other
scale.
way, and my intro is going to be for someone who has criticized Champions League and the new format for so long, almost every podcast. Look at what it's given us already, Eddie. It's already given us an upset for the ages. My flash score was even sending what a stunner this was. It was giving me some notifications. And that's all due to this amazing new Champions League format.
Yeah, look, it's won so far. Like you look at Club Brugge, obviously threatened for a while against Atletico Madrid, and then as soon as it was Atletico Madrid retook the lead on aggregate in the second half, it then got out of hand really quickly, and they won 4-1 today. Newcastle and Karabag, that tie has been done since about the 9th minute of the first leg. And then, Leverkusen and Olympiacos, I don't think anyone's remembering that in the future. But yeah, Bodo Glimt, it's a nice story, and it probably is the thing that if you wanted to try and support this version of the Champions League, you would say without the new format, then they would not be playing in the knockout stages. They'd be in the Europa League in the old format. You could also say maybe in the old format, maybe Inter Milan didn't deserve to be in the knockout stages of the Champions League, and in the old format, they may not have made it with some sort of fairly subpar European performances, and it's allowed a team to kind of coast into the knockout stages and underperform there as well. So I don't know. I still don't love it, but
The
yeah,
first Norwegian team to ever win a knockout stage game in Champions League history.
I think we're going to get a lot of firsts along those lines with this new expanded format, because it's obviously going to allow more teams to get to that stage. But look, it's an incredible achievement, and just the mismatch in terms of skill of player and financial weight between Inter Milan and Bodo Glimt, and experience in big matches. I mean, that's huge. And yes, you could argue that part of the reason why Bodo Glimt were able to win a two-legged, tie with Inter Milan is because the first leg took place in the Arctic Circle on an artificial pitch in freezing conditions, and Bodo Glimt were able to get a 2-goal advantage. And had even Inter Milan played the home leg first, based on how today went, they probably would have won by a goal or two, gone to Bodo Glimt, and felt like they just needed to defend a lead. It's a very different setting, but it's still a cool story. They'll probably get absolutely smashed in the next round, but it's a good story. And what's wonderful about it is, to just explain how stupid this current format is, I wasn't even immediately aware of who are Bodo Glimt going to play in the next round?
They could play one of two teams, right?
It's so stupid that it's not that's... So they're now either going to play Manchester City or Sporting.
Wow. If they get Sporting, who knows?
They'd have a chance. Yeah. I mean, look, they already beat Manchester City in the group stages, although it was not a match that meant a lot to Manchester City at the time. But, they'll obviously take heart from that if they can produce a similar performance. And they have legitimate home field advantage. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, maybe this is a case of Inter Milan saying, this is why we just want to have a Super League, so we don't have to play against these crap teams in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. And
more reason for a Super League.
The artificial pitch side of things is tough. I do get it is such a dramatic difference playing on an artificial pitch to playing on real turf, and there's no real solution because Bodo Glimt cannot have grass. It would just be like it's frozen. The match would have been unplayable.
Well, why couldn't they do a dome?
I mean, I don't think they got. They were only promoted last season, I think, to the top. So I don't think they're really in a financial position to start building an indoor stadium. But I mean, their home ground has a capacity of 8,270.
Oh my God!
Don't think you see a lot of. Don't think you see a lot of sub 10,000 indoor stadiums.
Maybe they should figure out if a group of people can do. I think the Scandinavians can figure out a way to make a nice plug and play little clip in, clip on dome. The dome.
Yeah, I mean, their population is it's less than 20,000. So, when you have a town's population that is smaller than the stadium capacities of every team they will have played in the Champions League so far, it's, again,
That's crazy.
I don't think if they built a 20,000 seater stadium, then they would have to hope that every match they played had every single person in town come to. So that's not particularly realistic either. Other than that, I guess in a quick roundup of the weekend's football action, Manchester City, it was the first week in a while where neither of the big two slipped up. Obviously, Chelsea did. Chelsea dropped points against Burnley, took the lead, had a man sent
Worthless.
off. But 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 both Manchester City and Arsenal passed, like reasonably challenging tests. With
Yep.
Manchester City playing Newcastle, I think that's a tougher game than playing Spurs at the moment. But with it being the North London derby, there's always an added element there, even if Arsenal have pretty much dominated that fixture over the last several years. But looked tricky at one point when it went 1-1. I will put myself firmly in the camp that the equalizer to make it 2-2 should have stood. Arsenal fans would be absolutely losing their minds if a goal was disallowed for a similar sort of infringement. But I don't think it would have mattered. I think Arsenal would have won. Even if it had gone to 2-2, Arsenal would have still won. They would have maybe not won quite in the emphatic manner in which they did, but it wouldn't have. I do not think they were going to drop points in that match. Oh, have an update too also. I know last episode
Oh
we
boy.
spoke about speaking of Champions League, there was the drama surrounding Gianluca Prestiani and the accusations from Vinicius Jr. that he had said something
Oh,
racist
yes.
to him in the Real Madrid-Benfica match. He has been provisionally suspended whilst an investigation is ongoing. But his defense, I thought, was a unique one. I quite
Oh, boy.
admire it. It's a bold move.
Oh boy.
He said he didn't say anything racist. He said something homophobic.
God.
That's so.
Fucking Christ.
That's it's.
So does that mean Vinicius Jr. is a liar? Is that
Yeah,
the
that's what
move
he's
he's
trying
trying
to
to
say.
claim here?
His move
It's
is like you get
insane.
pulled over by the cops and then you show up to the trial and the guy's like, the cop says that you were doing 150 in a 30 mile an hour speed limit. And it's like, I was driving the speed limit, but I was incredibly drunk on cocaine, on heroin at the time, but
Yeah.
I was not driving fast.
Yeah. I know I wasn't speeding because I had my beer in my left hand and my right hand I had on the mark where I couldn't go over on my speed limit.
But yeah, other than interesting. I don't know how that will work out with him for him, but
What an asshole.
yeah, not a great look.
Any other sporting topics then?
I don't think so. Six Nations wise, things have not gone well for England. So
no, they have not.
Less said the better, probably, in terms of those performances. Cricket World Cup, though, things slightly improving for England. They beat Pakistan today and are moving on to the semifinals. So
I got to watch
at least
that.
some.
That was nice.
Yeah, I don't think South Africa beat India on Sunday, which was a little bit of a surprise, especially because actually India looked to have kept South Africa to a very chaseable total and then just completely imploded in their run chase. But I still think this is India's tournament to lose. I'd be surprised if it's anyone other than that. The West Indies are just demolishing everyone they play. So I guess see how that goes for them. But I would like them to win because when they play well, no one's more fun to watch than the West Indies.
No.
Because they do just every single one of them goes out there and just tries to hit a six pretty much every ball. And when that works, it's great. Unfortunately for them, I'm not sure if it can work for the remainder of the tournament, but certainly worked against Zimbabwe when they scored 250 runs.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun to watch. I'll give them that. I do always enjoy watching them. 254 is crazy.
Yeah. Especially because they started kind of slowly. Like it was the first 4 or 5 overs, they did not score that many runs. They were probably 5 overs in. They probably had 40-ish runs with maybe a wicket or 2 lost. They were not exactly flying. And then Hetmeyer and everyone who followed just absolutely, started scoring, hitting us at least a 6 per over. It was super impressive. But Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But no, I think sporting-wise, I think that is pretty much everything I have.
I mean, interestingly, just because this always comes up in my head every once in a while, is the when the West Indies beat England, and you have the Breathright. Remember the name. I've remembered the
Yeah.
name. Don't see that name much.
Oh, he had an okay career. Here's a commentator now.
Yeah, but do you then want to move on to some non-sports topics?
We can do, yes.
Okay, so obviously, I guess the Night of the Seven Kingdoms is the big talking point. We
Yeah.
haven't talked in a while, I don't think, on it, right?
Oh, we spoke last week about the penultimate episode. It's only the
Okay.
final episode we haven't discussed,
Okay.
which was good, but maybe a little bit of an anticlimax. Like,
Hey, that's HBO, Eddie. I've warned you. Penultimate is everything, and then the last episode is just a little bit of wrap up and then getting it ready for the next season or the next series or whatever it is.
but see, that's the thing that interests me is because, right, there is no next season. This is sort of the conclusion of this story fundamentally,
Yeah.
right? And that's where it feels, I guess I
Well,
could,
there is a next season though.
but is it this story? This is what's unclear to me. Is it another season, but it's kind of a different, they move
It's a
on to a
different
different
adventure.
character? It's a different
It,
adventure, but same characters.
yes, Dunk and Egg are the two characters.
Okay. All right, then that's less disappointing as an ending.
Yeah.
But it was a little
Yeah.
bit of a nothing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun though. It's still like, and it got back to being like a little more funny of an episode. Obviously, like the penultimate was a very stressful, heavy episode, and they kind of got back to being a little like more light and good character interactions and things like that. It was still enjoyable. You know, when they're 30 minutes, like even if it's kind of boring, it's still kind of fun just to kind of hear them like BS with each other. Um, I thought the green apple Fossaway guy not understanding how pregnancy works was a pretty good thing. I thought that was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, I think to me this show is already so much better than House of the Dragon. So I'm excited for the next season, which will be next year supposedly. Um, they've
I mean, they
already
have no
they're
it's only six
yeah
30-minute episodes. It shouldn't take
yeah
4 years of production to roll out.
And I've been debating whether I want to go and read the current novellas that are out. I think there's only 3 of them because I've done it for obviously I did it for Game of Thrones. I had read all the books before watching the show, and it was still super enjoyable knowing what was going to happen. I've done it for House of the Dragon, and it's kind of made this show a little worse because you see how much they're dragging on and not getting to like all the crazy shit that happens and they're trying to just make money off of it, which is annoying. So I don't know what I want to do for this. Like it was fun not knowing at all what this story was about or how it was going to turn out and that, you know, it ended up being from like a local tournament to being like a 7-on-7 death match that changes the course of Game of Thrones history, you know, with Baelor dying. So that was kind of cool. So I don't know. I might not read them and just kind of go in blind.
I definitely won't, so I can remove any element of doubt that may have been lingering there. But yeah, I have seen some commercials for House of Dragon, which do not excite me. I also saw my first little thing promoting season 2 of Shogun,
Yeah,
which is we're only 2 years away from when it's supposed to come out, but they're
it's crazy.
making sure we don't completely forget about the fact that there was a TV show once that we enjoyed.
So
It's just too
stupid.
long.
I mean,
It's too
just
long.
let it. Yeah, just let it go. Like, why does everything just have to be like, let's give them more, and it's definitely going to be worse. But who gives a shit? You know, like
I'm
just it was a
fine.
great like story. Just let it be a great story.
I'm fine with them bringing it back for season 2, but only if you could roll out a season 2. Like, in general, I'm not okay with these 3, 4-year periods in between TV shows.
No.
Like, it's just especially for me where I won't rewatch even as it starts.
Yeah.
I will know going into it that I can't remember anything about season 1, and I'll still be like, I am not rewatching. I'm not letting them win by giving them extra streams on season 1 because I have to rewatch it in order to prepare myself for season 2. I will
Yeah.
instead watch season 2 and not remember who any of the characters are, and it will take me 3 episodes to kind of like trigger the net like the memories in my brain so they have some understanding of what's happening.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I will not rewatch it for sure. And in a show like, I mean, and then you have the shows like Severance, where there's so many little intricate
Yeah,
details,
fuck
and
them.
they want you to like 4 years later to remember these things. Like, oh,
No,
you don't
so we don't.
remember in episode 3, 33 minutes in, when the screen flashed and there was a picture of a red dog? You don't remember that? It's like, no, sorry, I don't remember 4 years ago.
Yeah, I was thinking in watching uh, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, just because like none of the actors, well, most of the actors, basically complete unknowns for the most part.
Well, they're all English.
Well, Irish in the case of the
Yeah,
main
yeah.
character. For as big of a show as the sort of Game of Thrones universe has been, not a great conversion rate of unknown actor to being super, super famous, sort of making a real career out of it afterwards. There's a couple who've done it, but it's only like 2 or 3 people who have really gone from, "I don't know who that person is." Now they're in a show that I'll watch for 7 years, and now they're in other things.
Yeah, I don't know, Game of Thrones has a decent amount.
You've got
I mean, you've got Kit Harington, who is Jon
yeah,
Snow. You've
probably
got
the
you've
most
got
successful.
Amelia Clark, who is Daenerys Targaryen. She's been in a ton. Whether you
Yeah,
think she's good or not, I mean, that's a different story, but she's been in a ton of stuff, like, even in, like, a Terminator and stuff, like, franchise things. You have Sophie Turner. She was in X-Men. She's in a bunch of movies, and now she's in that new Amazon show that actually was pretty good, Steel, if anyone's interested. Uh, it was a good show. It's like a financial mystery, like, heist movie. It was pretty good, show on Amazon. Um you have Richard Madden, who, like, almost started doing stuff, like, he was in the Eternals, so he was Robb Stark, so he was in the Eternals, and then he was in the Bodyguard TV show that actually was better than, like, it got reviewed. It was an okay show, but then he's kind of fallen off. I haven't seen him in anything recently. Um, Maisie
you got
Williams did some stuff. She was Arya, but then Peter
nothing else.
Dinklage,
But Peter
I mean,
Dinklage was already famous.
yeah, okay, but he's still famous.
Yeah, but you can't he does it's like you don't
Okay.
get oh, it's not
You
like,
want just unknowns, because you could
yeah,
have
someone
Sean
who
Bean was
yeah,
Ned
Sean Bean
Stark as
doesn't
well.
count as like, look at the success of Game of Thrones. If anything, you
Okay.
could argue that Sean Bean's been in less since Game of Thrones was on TV, so
Yeah.
it's almost been a negative impact on his career. But yeah, and Bella Ramsey would be, I guess, the other
Oh, and
one
Bella Ramsey. Yeah.
you'd kind of throw in, who
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there are a couple, but for the most part, it's not
Yeah.
a sort of kingmaker. It's not like, oh, if I can just get myself into a Game of Thrones show, then my
Yeah.
career will take off.
Yeah. What I will say, though, is, like, they do a good job of, even though those people maybe don't end up being super famous or super celebrities, they are, like, good on that show. Like, I mean, Richard Madden is a good example. He is really, really good as Robb Stark on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And maybe his career hasn't been so good afterwards, but, like, he crushed that part. Like, he was awesome in that role. So, like, they do a good job of, I think, casting the right people, but those people might not necessarily be good for many other things, I guess. Because the guy who plays, oh, fuck, the Baratheon, Lionel Baratheon in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, he was also in, The Gentleman, the Netflix show, not the movie. I don't know if you saw that. It came out with,
No.
like, Theo James. It came out, like, 2 years ago. It was a
Yeah.
remake of the movie that was with Matthew McConaughey. He's in that, and he's phenomenal in that, but that's the only thing I've ever really seen him in besides that.
Yeah. And before people start, because Pedro Pascal, I think people will probably listen to
Oh,
this
yeah,
and
Pedro
try and
Pascal.
he was already
That's
in The
true, I forgot about
Mentalist.
Pedro Pascal.
He was already in The Mentalist, and
Well, was he
I'm
also in
not
Narcos? He was already in Narcos, wasn't he?
I think that was after, wasn't it? Or
Well,
was
he
it
didn't show up to Game of
simultaneous?
Thrones until, like, season 3 or 4. You'd have to IMDb
Um,
that.
he's in so much shit. It's
He is in so
annoying to
much.
look through.
I forgot about Pedro Pascal. You had the, oh, crap, I can't remember her name. Uh,
He was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, actually, too. He was like kind of.
He was. He
I mean, I
actually
know
was in
people
Buffy.
have like leaned back on that, and he
Yeah.
wasn't that big of a character, but he was like big enough that it was recognizable. So he appeared in. Oh, this isn't good because it doesn't really tell me the years. It's like the years the show runs. This is not useful. He was in Homeland? Oh, yeah, 20. Now it does show me the years. He was in 2013. He was in Homeland. Who was he? Oh, was he the? Oh, I think I know
Who?
who he
What are
was.
you talking about?
Pedro Pascal. He was in Homeland.
Was he in Homeland? I think he was in Game of Thrones first, and then Narcos the next year.
But he was in The Mentalist first. So
okay,
he was a pretty big character in The Mentalist. He like had a serious.
Remember when we saw The Mentalist at Ascot?
Hey, he's in that like show with Jacob Elordi, the one that's got lots of critical
Wuthering Heights,
reviews.
Euphoria.
Now the Long Road to the North Country or whatever it's called, the one about prisoner of wars in World War II. It's an Australian TV show. I've completely butchered the name of the show. I tried to watch the first episode and just gave up on it. It was so fucking boring, but it's got rave reviews. Everyone tells you should watch it, but
everyone except Eddie.
No, I tuned in and it was so slow. I don't think he's a good actor. He's incredibly good looking, and that does a lot of heavy. Yeah, but that does a lot of heavy lifting in a lot of, like you can get this sort of star aura surrounding him based on just how he looks. But in a show like that, where he really needs to that's an actor show. It's like I don't know if
we haven't seen. Have you seen Frankenstein yet?
No, I don't want to see.
Did you watch that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm honestly, I think it's going to take me a while to get back into him.
Okay, sorry.
Well, just saying.
Watch half an episode of a show, and now you fucking are all out on Jacob Elordi.
I wasn't that in on him to begin with, but I'm definitely out on him now. That and two, I've seen
to watch 1 hour of Wuthering Heights.
I've seen the interviews with him and how seriously he takes his acting, and that's a rough one too. Combining the two things, he's not, in TV shows. Speaking of Emilia Clarke, I did watch Ponies.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to watch it. I heard it's pretty good.
It's okay. It's like
it's a good really you just watch it.
Yeah, that's what you do with most TV shows. But
no, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
It's just an easy watch.
It is an easy watch. It takes a little bit to figure out how seriously does it want you to take it. So for those unfamiliar, it's set for the theme of this episode, it's set in Moscow in late 1970s. So, and Emilia Clarke is the wife of a CIA agent, and things go from there. I won't put in any spoilers, but it's a sort of spy thriller set in the Soviet Union. It's a really shitty version of the Americans, I think is probably the nice way to describe it.
But funnier, right? Isn't it a funnier version?
It is, but then it's hard to, as I said, it's hard to tell at times how much it wants you to think it's a comedy versus how much it wants you to kind of still think of it as a spy thriller. And I don't know if it knows. It almost feels like you kind of filmed a scene and someone was like, that wasn't great. It's like, let's just try and make it funny now. The script isn't very good. It's all right. Just and I think that's the problem with actually having Emilia Clarke in it, is that I went into it taking it more seriously than it wanted me to take it. Because I was like, oh, she's a pretty famous actress and she's not really comedic. I mean, she's been in some sort of funny things, but it's not.
But you had the other girl who's comedic, more comedic.
I didn't know who she was. The girl from White Lotus. I don't watch White Lotus. I'd never seen her in anything. She's
also she's in something else pretty popular.
I spent the entire time feeling like she, from not a visual perspective, but from a vocal perspective, was doing an attempted impression of Jennifer Aniston from the Friends era. She just speaks like Jennifer Aniston. It's remarkable. Watch the show. Keep that in the back of your mind. and you will think that you're watching someone like an SNL sketch where it's like, pretend you're Jennifer Aniston, but a spy in Russia.
I'll see what I could do. Just reminds me of one of my all-time favorite, like, low-key movies is Atomic Blonde. Did you ever see that movie?
No,
Speaking of Cold War. Oh, you've never seen Atomic Blonde?
no.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good movie. It's like a spy Cold War, but it takes place in Berlin, East and West Berlin, with James McAvoy and Charlize Theron. Oh, it's so good.
Well,
Next time it's on your TV,
I
tune
will
in.
not watch it. But
You should watch it.
the only other warning I'll give to people, some slightly unnecessarily graphic sex scenes, like not
Whoa.
overly graphic, but just
Why
like
didn't you lead with that? Why
just
would you not lead? I'm on. I already downloaded the first episode now.
just just in the like, if you were to watch this with your parents, there's
Oh, a heads up.
there's like a 20
Little
the odd episode you're gonna get hit with like a 20-second uncomfortable
little
moment
NSFW.
where you're gonna be like, I don't feel like they really needed to show this. This is also going on a little longer than it should do. You know, like we're not really moving the show. All I needed to know, they're two spies, they're now having sex. I don't need, and it kind of in one of the scenes, it weirdly cuts back into like 80s porn look. You know, like it's just like really bizarre. Some strange decisions were made during the production
Leave
of
it to
that
Game
show.
of Thrones.
I'll give them credit. The name of the show, though, is at least reasonably clever.
Good name. You're like, okay.
Other than
Anything
that,
else?
I'm out of TV shows.
Yeah.
This is a
Well,
crisis moment for me.
I'm almost done with The Night Agent, which is just not a very good show, but on Netflix now that I'm invested, I have to watch every season as the new season comes out. It's a pretty corny spy show. It's a good background show for when I'm cooking or not wanting to really watch something intently. Um, actually, I watched How to Get to Heaven from Belfast. That was on Netflix. It's from the creator of Dairy Girls.
Mm,
It's
not
like
watch that
a
either.
kind of a mystery show. That was good. I don't know if you'd like it. It's Northern Ireland, so
Oh, I have a social question for you that
like
I've
Social
been meaning
Network.
to ask you. No. Just
Oh,
what would you do in
because
this?
the second one's coming out, and if you know.
Thanks for plugging it. It needs the extra promotion. So, weekend of the Super Bowl, I was driving around with Ollie, and we parked. We were
How did
going
Ollie like the
to
car?
loved it. Might get one himself.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Was he in
The
control of the Bluetooth speaker?
No, he never gave him that
Did he have
power.
to hold the iPad so you could follow directions?
The we
Did he
parked.
bring his own airbag?
We were going to a bar. All right, you got them all out now?
Yeah, I'm good for now.
We parked to go to a bar, and I went to pay for parking. So I went to go to the parking meter. And as I was parking it, like, the first time I did it, it didn't go through, and I was trying to figure out, like, what was going on. And then I realized the person before it obviously had left their credit card inserted into the machine.
Tell me you got everything for free that day.
Now, so I pulled it out, and then I tried calling their bank to be like, you know, like, "Oh, I'll be a good person. I won't just leave it in the machine because then
Uh-huh.
either they'll never find it or the person, who knows, the next person that might come along might decide that this is a nice freebie for them for a bit."
Or Ollie.
So I called up their bank. The bank was super unhelpful. The bank basically, the first question they asked me was, "Are you a client of this bank?" And I said, "No, I don't use this bank." And they said, "Then the only two things you can do is either go to a police station and drop the card off and they try and contact the person, or go into one of our banks and leave it in the bank and then they'll try and." I was like, "You can't just flag to this person like,
Yeah.
hey, like this person, like I'm going to be literally sitting at a bar 100 yards away from where they've left it. They're probably in the area because they just paid for parking. Like, you can't just do this." Anyway, they did not. Then we found this person on LinkedIn,
100%. Yeah.
sent them a LinkedIn message saying, "Hey, found your card."
Yeah.
They at this point didn't even realize that they'd lost their card. They came to pick up their card later this afternoon, came to my house to get the card. Yeah. If that's you, do you give a reward? Do you, like, say, "Thank you for doing this?" It's the kind of it's a version of the lost wallet thing of, like, "Do I give you money out of the wallet if you return my wallet?"
Yeah. Yeah, my first question is, how much did you spend on their card before you give it back to them?
0.
Because that depends on how much of a reward you should get.
Absolutely
Uh,
0. Not
yeah,
even my
it's
parking. Didn't even just pay for my own parking with it.
here's what I'll say it's a little tough, is 1, it's a credit card, so you can't, like unless you've got, like, cash on hand, which is kind of weird to just be like, "Oh, this is my credit card, thanks. Here's a $20 bill." It would have been a lot easier if they met you at, like, a bar or a restaurant, and then you could have walked in and been like, "Hey, I'm gonna get this next round for you." That's the perfect move. Like, that's an easy win for everybody. Like, you get your card back, they get a free round, or, like, you buy them a dessert or something, like, if they're getting dinner or whatever. I guess you could have planned ahead and maybe brought something to your house, but that's risky. Like, do you like a bottle of wine, but what if you're like I mean, obviously you're not like 15 years old, but what if you just don't drink? I guess even if you don't drink, you can do something with a bottle of wine.
You can regift it or
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe, but that's like that almost feels a little weird. Like it's a tough one. The loan credit card getting picked up at the house is a very unique, weird scenario. I don't know. I would probably say I would have brought over if it were in America and it was like a man who called me and said, "We have your stuff," I probably would have brought over like a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah, so I did not expect anything, but I did think in my mind, like, a lot of hoops were jumped through in order to even find you to get this
Yeah,
card back to you. Like, this was
yeah.
not a wallet with a phone number in it and I just gave it a call. This was, like, literally had to seek you out, had to go detective mode in order to find you. They did bring something. They did bring a bottle of wine.
Oh,
It is
nice.
basically airplane-sized bottle of wine.
It's
Like,
like a
it
shooter?
is
Like a shooter?
it's it's a mini bottle of wine. It's the smallest bottle of wine that you could buy in a grocery store, for sure. It's the, like, glass and a half bottle of wine.
Okay. Hey, you know what they say, Eddie? It's the thought that counts.
Like, I would say that probably in some circumstances, that is the size of wine that you would get on a train or on a plane. Like,
Okay.
it's the thought that counts, but it's almost they almost crossed the line of the thought
They
was so
thought so
bad,
hard.
I would rather they'd brought nothing. Like, it was almost
Yeah.
insulting that this is what they gave.
It's like I've got now, how old were they? Guesstimate.
I didn't actually see them, but I think they were I wasn't there
What?
when this I was out of the house when this happened, so someone else handled the handover of the card, and I think they were in their mid-30s based on information I was told. And a
Yeah.
woman, if that in any way changes your calculations.
It actually makes it a little more surprising. I thought that would have been a full bottle.
The thing I find an issue with, 1 or 2 things happened. 1, they were like, "Shit, I don't have anything at home," and that's all they've had. Seems unlikely.
Okay.
The other thing is that they've gone to the store with a very because that probably costs I mean, this is in France where this took place, so bottles of wine are not expensive. Like, you can get a nice bottle of wine for 7 to €9. Like, you
Yeah.
can give something with someone something that is,
Now, is this a
like
really nice bottle of wine?
no. No, no, no.
No.
They tend not to put the really nice wine in the really small bottles. That's
But maybe it's so expensive that they can only sell you littler bottles. You can't afford a full bottle.
yeah. So experience has taught me that they tend to put that in the normal size bottles, but and without the screw tops. It's also a screw top, which I'm not shitting on screw tops because you can get nice screw top wines, but it's also, but it meant they went to the store on the way here and was like, "Oh, well, I'll get them something to say thank you." How 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 big of a thank you do they deserve? And
Yeah.
they settled on, like, €5, thank you.
Yeah, that's the part that I think is kind of funny is it's like, what's the smallest amount I can spend to say thank you? They probably went to the wine thing and were like, "Ooh, this bottle of wine, like a full size is like €5." oh, boy, look at this one, 350. It's
Yes,
like it's half
and
a bottle. Who fucking cares?
I can almost imagine, like, a Seinfeld scenario where it's, like, George deliberating as to how good of a present he needs to give, and even
Yeah.
I will now completely create a hypothetical scenario of, like, her and her husband and, like, her grabbing a normal sized bottle of wine and the husband being like, "You're not buying them a full size bottle of wine. Like, all they did was find you and give you your credit card back. Any normal person would do this. They don't even deserve a reward. We're rewarding people now for just being decent human beings." Like, that's and then it's like, "We gotta
Hey,
give him
that guy's
something,
not
though."
wrong.
He's not wrong. Like, I don't disagree. I didn't expect anything, nor am I actually really annoyed by the fact that but it did just seeing it and then processing the thought that went into them arriving upon that as being appropriate intrigued me. Like, I wish I'd been able to ask them, like, "What else did you consider giving?"
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing you could do is, like, what if they gave you, like a Kinder bar?
I mean, like, almost better. Not a single chocolate bar, but if it had been, like, a family pack of Twix bars, that would almost to me be like, that's almost I'd almost prefer that.
What if for the chocolate babka, getting into deep Seinfeld cuts?
Yeah, for sure. But just a single baguette would have been fine. 5 bananas, like a bunch of bananas would have probably been like, to me, that would have been, like, almost more understandable. But it's to, like, go out of your way to get like, literally, if you gave me the challenge of buying a bottle of wine that size right now, it would feel like a slight obstacle to me. I'd be like, "I can't just buy a normal size one." No, you must buy the mini bottle. Like, you don't actually see that many of them.
I mean, joke's on them. You wrote down the number for their credit card, and after they gave you such a shitty gift, you went
Oh,
and
yeah,
bought a nice bottle of wine.
I bought flights, so I can have all the mini bottles of wine on that flight that I want.
Yeah, that's kinda funny. So you think you would almost prefer either a full bottle of wine or no gift at all?
Yes. Like, no gift, I wouldn't have been annoyed. I wouldn't have been like, What an asshole." I would have
Yeah,
gone, "Yeah, that's normal." Like, I didn't feel like I was doing anything remarkably special. I was doing what I hoped someone would do if they found my credit card. That's all I was
yeah.
doing, like and in a not unselfish way, with it being Super Bowl weekend, part of me was like, "I'm putting some good karma into the universe that can, like, help
There
my
you go.
bets." Like,
Okay.
there was a little bit of thought there of, "You know what? Let's just put some good energy out there and hope that some good energy comes back." But I wasn't expecting anyone, because again, the thing with a wallet is a little bit there's more of the trust there of, like, let's say there'd been 400 euros in the wallet and I hand it back and the 400 euros is still there. They know that you had every opportunity to just take the cash out and go, "When I found the wallet, the money there was no money in it." And, like, they can't prove that you're lying, and that's just the 2 of you just have to accept this as being the way it is. But And so then it makes more sense to go like, "Ah, extra special thank you for being a really good person. Here's a 50. Go get a couple drinks."
Yeah.
But with
It's
just a
also
credit card.
I think that's also is that Seinfeld or Curb, where he finds the wallet and he's like, "Hey, where's my money?" He's like, "I don't have your money." He's like, "I had $50 in here." He's like, "I didn't take your money." I don't know if that's Curb or Seinfeld. It's one of them.
Yeah, could be both of them in all honesty.
It could
But
be.
yeah, so now you
Interesting.
know that's the standard gift in case someone ever returns your card in the future.
I'm just gonna give them like a half-drank bottle of beer. Here's a bottle of beer. It's open, but I put the top back on.
Really well, actually. It's pretty well sealed now. Like, "Look, you can turn it over and everything." Yeah, other than that, don't think I have much else.
All right. Well, with that, then we'll call it a day.
Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
Cheerio.